Hello everybody, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. If you are new, please hit that subscribe, hit the notifications bell, give us a thumbs up, all that good stuff. It all helps and it is much appreciated. So here we are now, part 49 of the build, and we're looking at pack 85. I think in this video I'm going to do packs 85, 86 and 87 because they all are part of the build up of the radiator and the fan and everything, so we'll get there. So here we are, pack 85. As usual here we've got all the customer services and everything. If you are interested in getting one of these, please use the link in the description below. That basically tells DeAgostini how many people from my channel have gone and had a look at the model. And obviously there's no financial benefit for me at all, but DeAgostini are good enough to sponsor these videos, so it's only fair to let them know how much traffic I'm giving them in return. So as usual, we'll look at the magazine first. There's not a lot of building in this one, but we'll have a look anyway. Shelby Mustang GT500 SVT 20th anniversary convertible. Ford Special Vehicles team is the division responsible for developing sports versions of the maker's cars. And in 2013, they celebrated its 20th anniversary with the launch of an extraordinarily powerful Mustang convertible. So it had a 235 horsepower V8 engine, and sorry, that was 1993, I was saying, blimey. Basically, get the magazine, have a good old read of it or yourself. You can see here's the GT500 KR and the Focus ST, were each within its own sector among the best sports cars on the market. The GT500 KR was very, very good, but not as good as what came in 2015. So there we go, there's another one there, and we can see there the beautiful interior with the lovely striped seats and everything. So there's what we're going to be doing in the magazine. Here we've got the American presidential limos. So there's the Lincoln Continental which Kennedy was travelling in when he was assassinated in 1963. So it's history's most famous presidential car. Shows the president riding through San Antonio, Texas, in it with his wife Jackie and the governor of Texas, John Connally, on the day before he was murdered. So yeah, very sad times indeed. And here we can see Harry S. Truman stood in front of his Cadillac Fleetwood limousine. Beautiful looking car. And here's another beautiful car. There's a Cadillac Eldorado with Dwight D. Eisenhower in it, looking all happy and standing up. Compare that to the scenes we saw recently of our Prime Minister in that Jeep thing in France. I'm not going to say any more about that. William Howard Taft used his own car, this 1911 White Motor Company Model M Steamer. He's got a chauffeur behind the wheel. That was his presidential limousine. He was the first American president to use a car rather than a horse-drawn carriage for his official journeys. Wow. And then here we've got the Beast. So this is what they still use up even today, isn't it? A model like this. That was President Obama taken in 2009. So interesting here. Scrapped will say, in the past, when a presidential vehicle was decommissioned, it was usually destroyed. This was to save it from being a target for souvenir hunters or from ending up in the hands of a not very respectful collector. However, some presidential limos have been preserved. For instance, the Cadillac Fleetwoods used by Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton during their terms of office are now at the Ronald W. Reagan Presidential Library and Museum in Simi Valley, California. As for the Lincoln in which John F. Kennedy was shot, it hasn't been destroyed either, given its historical importance. It is on display at Henry Ford's Museum in Dearborn next to the Lincolns of Ronald Reagan, Franklin D. Roosevelt and Dwight D. Eisenhower, but the Secret Service has locked the doors and taken away the keys to prevent anyone getting in and damaging them, because for many Americans they are more than mere cars. Wow. Emerson Fittipaldi, there he is in IndyCar. He was of course a Formula One racer as well. Celebrates his 1974 US Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. His fourth place at that race proved driving a Ford Cosworth powered McLaren M23 clinched his second Formula One title. And there he is in a JPS Lotus. There's another IndyCar race by the look of it. Interesting. Right, so let's see what's in here for us to build. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, this is the second time I filmed this, because the first time I didn't turn the light off, and all you saw was a load of glossy glare. So Yeah, so I've actually already opened this bag, so we'll do it again. Okay, get the parts out. So we've got our 3 parts here, a total of 3 parts. We've got a nice little photo etch grill in there, so be careful not to bend that when you take it out. And this little tray, keep hold of that. Really handy little tray for your model making. Just want to do a couple of decals or something, a little drop of water in there. Or if you're doing some weathering and you want to mix up some pigments, what a handy little thing to have. Don't throw that away, keep it. So we've got here is the fan support, radiator rear grille, and the radiator rear. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we are going with the radiator rear grille 85B next to the radiator 85A. Identify the correct orientation for assembly. Note the radiator rear has a circular knot into which fits a pin on the radiator rear. So we've got there isn't a pin there, but there's a hole. It's showing a hole. Okay, now place the radiator rear. You can see we've got a little cutout in there as well. You can see that there. So that's going to go over there. So we're going to place that on there. Make sure the pin of the rear of the notch fits in the notch of the grille. This is how the rear of the radiator looks once the assembly is finished. Store it carefully for future use. There we go. That's 85 done. Let's have a look at 86. Okay, so here we are now with pack 86. So that was my Mustang you just heard, by the way, and that car is currently up for sale, believe it or not. I'm not using it, it's just crazy. I want my garage back, so I'm going to sell the Mustang, I think, keep the Yaris, and maybe get something else, we shall see. Buell Motorcycles, bikes with personality. Buell is basically a wing of Harley Davidson, and you can see there was one there. The Trail XB12 came out in 2005, was probably the most interesting of all motorcycles built by Buell. It was designed for long journeys on both roads and dirt tracks and provided comfort and sure-footedness on and off tarmac. There's some lovely sports bikes there. There's a lovely looking Buell sports bike. XB12S was original and attractive in appearance and was fitted with state-of-the-art components, but in spite of its undeniable high quality, this heavyweight machine was perceived as a middleweight and sales suffered. Oh dear. Good looking bikes though, they are good looking bikes. You can see there's one there, beautiful looking thing with a Rotax engine rather than the Harley. So there's the parts we're going to be building up for the rest of the model. Ford Sierra Cosworth 4x4, too late to win. I thought we'd already covered the Sierra Cosworth in these magazines. Francois Delacour in the Sierra Cosworth 4x4's first race, the 1991 Monte Carlo, which he came very close to winning. Malcolm Wilson, current owner of the Ford M Sport team, was one of the first drivers to race the Sierra in 1990. Sierra Cosworth 4x4's 2-litre engine was the same as the one used by the two-wheel drive version until then. There we go, strut brace on there. Cars looking pretty sort of original really, aren't they? Stig Blomqvist with the Sierra XR 4x4 that Ford raced in Monte Carlo, Sweden in 1987. It had all-wheel drive, but its naturally aspirated V6 was very underpowered. Yes, and very heavy as well. Finn Sebastian Lindholm at the 1992 Thousand Lakes Rally. The Sierra was a very large, unwieldy car for a speciality like rallying. They weren't that large, by today's standards anyway. We forget how small these cars were. It's absolutely amazing. And it was developed in Spain. The Ford Sierra 4x4 was developed in the UK in Ford's official team facilities, but it was tested at the Spanish Gravel Rally Championship. This was a contest allowing the participation of prototypes and non-homologated vehicles. Ford sent a car over there. So Josep Maria Bardolet, the driver who developed the Sierra Cosworth 4x4 in Spain, joined the 1992 Rally de Portugal. And there we go. So let's have a look at what we're going to be building. So we've got a bag of parts. We're going to put the light on because we do that sort of thing. So we have, the knife hasn't even cut them, being careful not to cut the paper. The blue stuff you can see here is just paper. So we've got a shroud, a radiator and some screws. So we'll open the screws. We're only going to be using one of those obviously, because they always give us a spare one. Okay, so we've got a radiator, a fan, a shroud and some screws. So, retrieve the fan support 85C supplied with the previous stage. That's here. Identify the 4 attachment points at the back of both the support and on the radiator fan as shown in the picture. So we've got, on here you can see there's 4 raised pins in that side and there's 4 recesses in that side. So those 4 pins are going to go into those 4 recesses. So that's going to go on like that. Okay. They're not very deep, so it's not going to sort of click in, but it just goes on like that. Okay. And there we are, that's fitted in place. Now retrieve the radiator rear assembly with its grille. Look for the pin on the radiator fan 86B. Yep. This pin protrudes through the centre of the fan support. Insert into the centre of the radiator here like this. So it's going to go this way round, so that's going to go into there like that. This is a bit weird. I would have thought the fan would be attached to the front of the engine. Turn the radiator and fix in position with a PSO5 screw as shown in the picture. And I'm just going to slacken that screw off attached so we can actually spin it. Maybe this was an electric fan or something, I don't know. A bit weird. Okay, finally place the radiator shroud 86A over the radiator as showed in the picture. The shroud is left loose for now, not fixed, awaiting a later stage when the radiator assembly will be completed. So we have a pin here, they haven't mentioned, there's a pin there, there's no pin there, there's a hole there, so we make sure that pin goes into that side. So that's going to sit like that, and that's it. Okay, so very surprised that that's attached to the radiator. It's probably just for the model, but not for real life. Okay, so there we are. Right, let's go and have a look at pack 87. And we're back. Right, okay, so you can hear my Mustang again. Pack 87. Going into the magazine here, we normally have all the contacts and everything for the customer services, but here we're straight in. So this is the Shelby story, AC Ace, precursor of the Cobra. It's a British car, guys. And the light, elegant look of the Ace already revealed the essential lines of the future Cobra. Built in aluminium, the body of this open two-seater sports car, designed by the famous racing engineer John Tajero, was handcrafted. There we go. It's a Bristol engine. I was born in Bristol. In 1954, AC launched a coupe version with a rear hatch thus extending its range. This new version was called the AC Acacia, and it was powered by the same engine as the Ace. 2 years later, this engine was replaced in both models by a new 6-cylinder inline producing 120 horsepower, built by Bristol and based on an original design by BMW. There we go. And there's the Acacia. Is it Acacia or Acacia? Coupe version there. Here's the rest of the radiator that we're going to be using. And then here we've got the Australian Ford Falcon GT. Beautiful looking car. That was what made the that's another part works in it, is the one from Mad Max. In 1972, Ford stopped making the Falcon in the United States. However, the Australian subsidiary kept the Falcon in its range, redesigning it and creating versions with muscle car credentials. Yeah, awesome. The Falcon GT with fastback coupe body was a creation of Ford Australia, with no equivalent in the range of any of the company's subsidiaries. Beautiful car. One of the curiosities of these is the model is that it was also available in a 4-door sedan. The colorful cosmetic changes did not fit very well with the body of this type. Yeah, looks like a Mark II Cortina, doesn't it? And then here we've got the Falcon Cobra was a car that could reconcile road and track use. Its colour paid homage to the US Ford Mustang Cobra. There's actually one of these being restored at the moment on YouTube, isn't there, I think? And then here we've got beautiful looking, the Ford Falcon Cobra was launched to celebrate this double victory claimed by Alan Moffat and Jackie Hicks's Ford Falcon in first place, and Colin Bond and Adol Hamilton second in the 1977 Bathurst 1000. There we go. The engine was similar to the US models, it says there. And yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. The car driven by the star of the film Mad Max was a modified 78 Ford Falcon GT. There we are, and there's all the customer stuff in the back. So there we are. Right, let's have a look at what we're going to do in this one. So we'll get the light on as we always do. I'm knocking the camera while I do it. So here is pack 87. We'll make sure the parts are out of the way so we don't go cutting any parts. We've got another one of those lovely little trays that we can keep hold of. So we've got our radiator itself. We'll get this out of the way. So we've got the radiator itself. We've got the photo etch grill there. We've got a piece of tubing and a radiator cap, 2 lots of screws, and a radiator top or bottom is that. 87C is radiator top. So there we are. Right, let's have a look. Place the radiator front grille on the radiator. So what we're going to do is get this out of here without bending it. Okay, keep this little plastic tray. We've got 2 of them now. Lucky me. So place the radiator front grille 87B. Let's get that out of the way. On the radiator front 87A. Fit it into the frame like shown. Frame like space on the radiator front as shown in the picture below. So it's got no special way it goes or anything. It's just going to go like that. Okay, so that's that done. Next, secure the radiator front grille 87B to the radiator front with 4 PS24 screws in the positions shown. So PS24 is these little babies here, tiny little countersunk screws. So we'll get those out. We'll have 1 spare. I'm not sure if this screwdriver is going to work with them. No, it's not. It's too big. So we'll use this little Tamiya screwdriver and we will just screw them in like that. 1, 2, 3, and finally number 4. Just like so. Okay, now fit the radiator hose 87D. This is the radiator overflow. Get the pipe out of there. We get the radiator cap out. Bag over there. So we're going to fit this over the boss of the radiator cap 87E. So that's going to go over there like that. Be careful not to snap the pin off. That's a lovely fit on there. Very nice indeed. We've got a jar of screws here. It's marked Mustang, as you can see, because I've also got the one for the Ferrari as well, which I'm also doing. The beautiful DeAgostini Ferrari 330, which I'm also doing as a sponsor build by DeAgostini. Thank you very much. So we've only done the first couple of parts of that one. I'm going to get these screws out ready, and I'm going to get the screwdriver loaded. We're ready to go. Okay, place the radiator cap on the radiator top. Fit the protrusion on the base of the cap into the notch into the radiator top. So there's a protrusion there on that side, you can see. So that's going to go into there like that. And then we're going to take a PS05 screw. You can see now I'm glad I loaded it. I'm going to screw that into the bottom of there, and that will just hold that cap in place. There we are. Take the radiator shroud 86A and the radiator rear 85A and place the radiator top in position as shown in the picture. Press the pins in the radiator rear into the holes in the flanges of the radiator top shown ringed in the picture. So basically we are going to take, I'm going to take that shroud off because it's daft trying to hold it on there, and then this is going to go with the pipe facing me. It's going to go that way round. Okay, so that's a fairly tight fit, but it just clips in like so. Okay, so that's that one done, and then we'll turn over the page and we're going to take 87A, which is this one, and we're going to place this over. Now you can see here we've got these holes. They're going to line up with those pins, so we're going to make sure that goes on that way round. Alright, give it a good push, and that will line up the radiator top and everything. And then we can turn it over, we can grab the shroud, make sure that pin goes into the hole on the left hand side, like that. So that's all gone together. And then we're going to take 4 PSO5 screws. Go on, go in, you know you want to. I'm going to screw all this together. I'm just going to put them in a couple of turns initially. Don't want to go putting anything down and putting it on an angle and breaking any pins off or anything. Just put them in a couple of turns. It's plenty. Just like so. There we go. That's that one in there. And there we go. That's those in. So that's that all done. And there's our radiator complete. And I would imagine, they're not telling us to do it yet, but I'd imagine that hose is going to get clipped into those pipes there, those clips on the side. We'll leave that up for now. So there we are. So that's another assembly that can go into our storage box. We've got a spare screw there, can go in our little Mustang Tamiya paint jar. You can see all the extra screws you get, handy for future builds or other stuff. So there we go. So that's been those 3 parts done, guys. That's 85, 86 and 87. And there's our lovely little radiator with its photo etch grills and everything. Very, very nice indeed. I don't understand why the fan is attached to the radiator though. It's just for appearance. Obviously when we put the engine in, it's all going to come together. Thank you for watching. I will see you all very, very soon for pack 88, and that will be May's Mustang build completed, and you can keep your eyes open for the Ferrari build, which will be coming very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.